Good evening, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to another thrilling episode of Thrilling. I mean, chilling, thrilling.
It's like the thriller in Manila.
Yes.
Except it's not Manila.
Of the BURKE Brigade. I'm Matthew Burke.
And I'm Jennifer Burke.
And we are the BURKE Brigade. Brought to you by the Liberty Daily.
Your conservative alternative to the Drudge Report.
Go to thelibertydaily.com. You will not be disappointed if you're a red-blooded American Christian constitutionalist, a conservative, even a libertarian. You will absolutely love it.
You'll thank us later.
You'll thank us later. Thank you for putting that in. So let's just start out with this hot off the press. Colin Kaepernick wannabe. Michael Bennett lied.
It pains me to say this. You know, Michael Bennett was up on the Colin Kaepernick bandwagon, and he said in the off season how, you know, he felt like he was being railroaded. When the season started, he refused to stand. Last year, the Seahawks took a stand together, and they stood in unity, linking arms during the national anthem. But Michael Bennett decided that he was going to sit on the sidelines and protest, continuing Kaepernick's protest against the American flag.
Because who wouldn't want to get behind a cop-hating, communist, Castro-loving fool like Colin Kaepernick, who disrespects the American flag and everything it stands for and everybody who fought and died for. I mean, who wouldn't want to get behind that?
Right. You know, black conservatives have been called self-loathing because we're conservatives, and racist and bigots think that you're black. If you're black, you're supposed to be a Democrat. But, you know, I haven't heard anyone calling Colin Kaepernick self-loathing for his hatred against white people when he's half white. Right.
I mean, Kaepernick shows up to press conferences wearing cops are pigs socks.
Right.
And I love Fidel Castro, you know, the butcherous communist pig from speaking of pigs.
And he wasn't fined for that, like RG3 was fined for wearing a Christian shirt.
No.
That was
not
okay.
So who wouldn't want to get behind that, right?
Right. And it pains me even more because Michael Bennett, Seahawk player, went to my alma mater, Texas A&M. But Bennett, you want to play it first? You want to give a little background?
Yeah, let's play just a little bit of this. And this is right now the lead story, headline story on thelibertydaily.com. And it's from Clay Travis of Fox Sports Radio, who also runs OutkickTheCoverage.com. And let's listen to what he discovered. I guess I should turn the volume.
To Outkick the Show, I am your fearless leader, Clay Travis. Outkick the Show is presented by Oddshark. Go to Oddshark for all of your gambling and informational related needs. I also want to encourage you, if you are in the business of needing a mortgage, you need to go get hooked up SPN shirts at Outkick.com. Pulled me out, pointed their guns at me for doing nothing more than simply being a black man in the wrong place at the wrong time.
So, sorry about the ads there, but he's quoting Michael Bennett and this incident where, if you don't know what it is...
Right, supposedly he was in some casino during the Mayweather-McGregor fight in Vegas, and he claims that cops singled him out, pointed a gun to his head, and threatened to shoot him in the head, all for the crime of being black in America. There was a
live shooter.
That's his narrative.
Yeah, so it's maybe a little different because, you know, credit the police in that area. They actually fought back with their own video, and they took the narrative and they shoved it where the sun don't shine.
A police officer ordered me to get on the ground. He told me if he moved my head, if I moved, he would, quote, blow my fucking head off. He also put a gun by my head, according to Michael Bennett. The officer's excessive use of force was unbearable. He thought he was going to die, he says. He kept asking, what did he do? He then says now he knows how it feels to be like Eric Garner, Michael Brown, Trayvon Martin.
Are you kidding me? He expects us to believe that in the middle
not the worst.
of gunfire and all that stuff, and that an officer's going to say, "Oh no, he said now he knows what it's like." Oh, to be Eric Brown.
It gets worse. It gets worse. It gets worse.
Rice, etc., etc. And immediately, the sports media loses its mind. Everybody is out there. This thing has been retweeted or favorited over 583,000 times. It has been the lead story all day on virtually every television network about sports.
So this is just like Trump-Russia and the other media-created narratives where they jump the gun, they jump to conclusions, they create their narrative out of thin air.
Police bashing.
They'll believe a progressive leftist commie lover, probably a communist himself, although, you know, he makes money like a capitalist.
But then
certainly hates the police.
That just makes him the hypocritical commie, as many of them are.
And the media loves those types.
Right.
The media loves those
so
types. So rather than fact check it,
no evidence.
The cops are racist.
A tweet.
Here's a narrative. Cops are racist. Cops are racist. It's a whole, you know, Black Lives Matters. Finish my word.
What?
When I get a brain fart, you're supposed to come in and...
I know, sorry, I was looking up an article.
Quit doing that. You're supposed to be finishing my sentences for me. Okay.
On virtually every sports talk radio show, everywhere you look, this Michael Bennett story is being covered, and almost no one ever had the willingness to wait and say, okay, hold on a minute. This is one side of the story. Let's see what the other side of the story is. And so as the day progressed, more and more details started to come out. And the first detail that came out was a video that TMZ posted. And that video showed Michael Bennett being arrested. And in that arrest video, you can't see anybody threatening to blow his head off. Can't hear him. And you don't see any gun. Now, it's not a complete video. It's only 50 seconds long. It's up on Outkick. But it's you start to ask the question, I wonder what might have been happening here.
This is always what the media does. They will crop the video to push the leftist agenda of the Democrat Party, just like they did with Michael Brown. Yo, hands up, don't shoot, you know, garbage. And then once there's an investigation,
they'll drop it.
You find out it's not true. No, they don't drop it. They continue it. And to this day, that hands up, don't shoot narrative still lives.
Well, they don't necessarily. It's not them pushing it. It's their allies in the Democrat Party,
right?
Like Sheila Jackson Lee leading her idiotic staff in Congressional Black Caucus in a hands up walkout of Congress. Even though by then we knew that was like Eric Holder, the commie loving black attorney general bromance buddy of Barack Obama, said it was a lie.
Right, but. You know, nevertheless, you see like the useful idiots on The View. You know, I remember that famous picture with their hands up, hands up. It never happened.
Push the narrative.
But it's just like, you know, the New York Slimes or the Washington Compost or Dumb as a Post. Washington Dumb as a Post is what we call them. People don't see the correction. You know, they just believe what they want to believe.
They never, when they tweet this erroneous lie-based crap, they never take down the wrong tweet.
Right, because it's the one getting all the action. Okay, let's listen to Clay Travis some more.
I wonder if there might have been something else going on because, again, the arrest video doesn't look out of the ordinary at all. And by the way, it's not an arrest video, it's a detention video. Well, so that goes out there, and people watch it. And then later in the day, the Las Vegas police have a press conference, and they share a 5-minute video from inside the casino.
Minutes.
Now,
so 5 minutes versus 50 seconds. And good for them for getting out, you know, rapid response.
If you haven't seen this 5-minute video from inside of the casino, I would encourage you to go right now to Outkick.com and click on our top story and go scroll down and watch those videos for yourself. You don't have to hear it from me. You can go watch them yourselves. And inside that 5-minute video, you learn a couple of things. One, the police, as if you had forgotten, were responding to an active shooter investigation. They believed there was someone there with a gun firing shots, potentially endangering people. So as you watch their video, They run in from the street. All of them have their guns drawn, and they bravely work their way through the casino to try and find out if there's anybody in danger there, if there's anybody armed, what exactly is going on. Okay? All of that is out there. You can go to Outkick.com. You can watch this video. It starts about 7 minutes in. I would also encourage you to watch the police officer's press conference where he answers a lot of questions about this case. Okay? Inside of that video, near the end of it, the officers suddenly, and I'm reading from their report now, and you can see all this happen on video. The officers, and I'm quoting, as our uniformed officers entered the casino, they observed Bennett hiding behind a slot machine. When officers turned toward Bennett, he bolted out of the casino, leapt over a 4-foot barrier wall, and hid from officers as he crouched close to the wall.
He was just scared.
So it's a crime scene.
He was just scared. That's the narrative he was
It's a crime scene. The police are telling you to stop and get down on the ground. You run, and then you hide.
Right.
And then you wonder why maybe they think you might be
guilty.
I mean, this is a live crime scene.
You want us to think he said, "Oh, I was just running away from danger." That's like those idiots, Van Commie Jones, who claimed that the looters in Houston were just victims of the storm trying to get food. So, there's an active shooter. The police tells everyone to get down. If you're low to the ground, your chances of being shot by that bullet are probably more slim than if you're standing up.
Or, like Michael Brown, beating the crap out of a police officer and acting like they're the victim.
On the sidewalk. They continue. I am sure your attorney will tell you our officers had reasonable suspicion, which they certainly did based on this behavior, which is the constitutional standard, to detain Bennett until they could determine whether he was involved in the shooting. Our officers, who are both minorities...
Oh! Narrative busted! So he said he was singled out for being a black man.
Here's what Black Lives Matter would say. They're not really minorities.
Uncle Tom's!
They're Uncle Tom's. They're Oreos. If they're working for the man... That's Black Lives Matter.
But we know that's not possible.
Bennett's brethren.
Yeah, but we know that's not possible because Eric Holder himself said that it's impossible for minorities to be racist.
Yes, but then again, Barack Obama went to the memorial service for the Dallas police officers who were murdered by a Black Lives Matter supporter. Many of these police officers who were murdered were black, and basically accused the police officers of being racist. That's when the narrative of just white police officers was busted. When a Black Lives Matter supporter killed in cold blood police officers who were out doing their job, protecting people who were protesting against them, and then it turned to, well, all police officers are racist. They're not black. They're blue.
Good God.
These people are insane.
Interesting, considering that Bennett said that they were racist. Had the legal right and obligation to detain Bennett based upon the nature of the call and Bennett's unusual and suspicious actions.
He was someone that, like Rahm Emanuel said, never let a crisis go to waste.
Yep.
He's got a chip on his shoulder. He's obviously been talking to Colin Kaepernick.
And his Muslim girlfriend.
And they are trying to create these types of situations.
You know what? I wish NFL, if I were an NFL owner, I would pull up, what's that movie with Adam Sandler when that
Don't ask me about movies.
One player decided he wanted more money, and Adam Sandler said, that's not part of the contract. You want more money? Fine, get out. I wish these NFL owners would take these people. Look, if you want to, it's a private organization. You can have standards of conduct.
Right. You know what? You can have a rule there.
You can have standards of dress. You can have standards of conduct. You can have, things that you can and cannot talk about. Tell them, you want to run your mouth about this crap? You want to attack the people who you are going to call if someone intrudes into your house? You want to do that? Get the hell out. We don't need you.
Yeah. You know what? You want to work for the NFL, our organization? Stand for the American flag or get the hell out.
Right.
If you're going to disrespect the American flag, get the hell out. We're not going to pay you millions of dollars in this country, overpay you for paying a game kids would love to play and get paid nothing.
Right. He's probably one of these idiots.
We're not gonna pay you for that. Just like every company in America has rules.
Yep.
When you're representing the company, you better conduct yourself in a certain manner.
In fact, I don't think you've gotten to this yet, honey, but the NFL put out a statement praising, what I read in the article, praising Michael Bennett.
Oh yeah, I was trying to find that here, but basically, Roger Goodell came out in favor of the
praising Bennett and castigating the police.
Yeah, praising the flag sitters. We support the flag sitters. We support those taking a dump on the American flag. We support those who disrespect the American flag and everything it stands for. And of course, the NFL Players Union, who's a big commie leftist, DeMaurice Smith, he said he appreciates Goodell's support of Michael Bennett.
You know what? They must not want an audience.
They don't want fans.
They didn't learn from last year.
I applaud Roger joining me in issuing a statement of support for Michael Bennett. But there are no grounds for the NFL to investigate our union rep. Yeah, of course. You just keep getting away with everything, don't you? So, Roger Goodell, the head of the NFL, he supports the flag sitters. They're not going to... The NFL came out with a statement today. They're not going to investigate Bennett. And I'm not necessarily saying they should. I'm not saying he committed a crime. But while it's not, a technical crime, it's a moral crime to wrongly, say that police officers have discriminated against you. And what's the other thing Clay Travis said in the video? Basically, everybody in there was black. Right. It was a predominantly black audience.
But somehow, Michael Bennett, who was hiding behind a slot machine and then ran when police told him to get down, was singled out because he was black in his victimized, mediocre, menial mind.
Now, let me just tell you something. If it was a white guy running for the police during an active shooting situation, and a police officer told this white person or a white man to stop, you know what would have happened? Exactly the same thing.
Right.
Exactly the same.
You're not supposed to think.
You can't say that.
You're not supposed to think.
You just can't say it.
Michael Bennett at his word.
Yeah. But, he doesn't have a narrative to spin. Even before this, he was a flag sitter. So we know he hates the police to start with. God forbid somebody robs his house. He's a multimillionaire. You know who he's going to call?
Colin Kaepernick.
No.
His Muslim girlfriend.
He doesn't have one. Colin
Kaepernick.
He's going to call the police. And you know what I hope I do? I hope they flip him the bird and say, F you.
Why would he?
You know what? F you. You cop-hating communist. Get the hell out of our country.
Wouldn't he be afraid that the police would say, oh, you called us on a call, but you're a black man.
Oh!
Get on your knees, put your hand behind your back. That's the narrative that Michael Bennett is sending. Shame on you, Michael Bennett.
God. And we're Seahawks fans.
We're Seahawks fans.
That's how objective we are.
I am going to root for the Seahawks despite your idiotic arse.
And you know why? We're not going to give you control over us. We like, the other 95% of the players who aren't America-hating communists like you and Colin Commie Kaepernick are. Okay. So, enough of Michael Bennett. So, this is so depressing. I can barely talk about it. But we know yesterday, everybody that voted for Donald Trump, the number one priority they had they wanted a president that would hop in the sack with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. That's why Donald Trump got elected, right?
I thought they wanted someone to drain the swamp.
What they really wanted was someone that would get in there and fight with Pelosi and join Pelosi and Schumer to raise the debt ceiling, right? Isn't that why Donald Trump got elected?
I'm confused.
I see some of these damn idiots, these sycophants, these absolute worshipers that are saying, well, yeah, of course he had to get in the sack with Pelosi because of McConnell and Ryan. Nobody hates Ryan and McConnell more than I do. They are absolutely, as my dad used to say, worthless as tits on a boar hog. But that is no reason to go even to the left of those rhinos.
Yeah, I thought he was the master negotiator. He was going to show the Democrats what?
Drain the swamp.
Drain the swamp. Drain the swamp, baby. Instead, anybody with any inkling of conservatism other than Mike Pence, who was in his White House, has been booted out. He's surrounded with limousine liberals, some masquerading as Republicans with New York values in the White House, and now he's sidling up to Chuck U. Schumer and Santan Nan Botox Pelosi. Shameful.
Just what the country needs. Another president who will make love to Nancy Pelosi. I mean, right. Isn't that what we had the last 8 years?
Isn't that what we've complained about with
Obama?
That we've called rhinos, acting like they were not in power and caving to the left, giving the left what they wanted? Didn't Trump supporters complain about Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell giving Obama all of his agenda in those final years? And now they want to have the audacity to defend Trump letting Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer dictate terms when they have no power.
They have no power. Why is Donald Trump giving the Democrat Party power? He was elected to crush them like grapes.
As I said a couple episodes ago, it's going to give fuel to the fire. Add fuel to the fire of people who wondered, was Donald Trump a plant? Bill Clinton supposedly had a conversation and encouraged him to run for president. Said, I think you can make a difference in the Republican Party. Is this the difference that he meant, officially making the Republican Party Democrat Party light?
Well, they were already Democrat Party light, and that's why he got elected. Yes.
He's caved to the Democrats faster than George W. Bush did.
Okay, but worse, we digress a little bit. Apologies for the rant, but it is a righteous rant. Forget yesterday. Today, there is a report. Now, granted, this is from the Washington Dumb as a Post. It's written up on the Daily Wire by Ben Shapiro, who I respect and trust immensely. But there is a report out, and this would seem like it's too far to believe if it wasn't for Trump literally making love with Nancy Pelosi yesterday. The Washington Post has reported that President Trump is now in ongoing discussions. I can barely say this. It makes me freaking sick to my gut. With Pelosi and Schumer to end the debt ceiling.
End it.
So let me ask you a question. You ever had a credit card?
Yeah.
Obviously, I know the answer to that. This is for our vast listening audience. You've had a credit card. And as a human being, I mean, your credit card company gives you a credit limit.
Right.
Why did they do that?
Because that's the max they think that you should spend and are capable of paying back.
But why did they put it on there?
To give you limitations.
Oh. So why do we have a debt limit?
It's to give us limitations. It's embarrassing that the greatest country on God's green earth is in debt to China.
It's a lid. I mean, right? It's a lid on spending.
Yep.
It's like, okay, you've reached your credit card limit, and, you know, in order to get past that limit, you now need to call the credit card company and get it approved to get it raised. But what a lot of people do, a lot of people with brains do, is when they reach their limit, they go, oh my gosh, I've reached the limit, so I better cut back on my spending.
Right.
That's the purpose of a debt limit.
And this is the problem with big government. They view you as cattle. They view you as servants. They view you as slaves. Property. They don't care. It's not their money they're spending. They're living a high life. During the crash, the when things went in the tank in 2008, the three most prosperous that continued to prosper counties in the country were all surrounding
seven counties
surrounding Washington, D.C. The people in the private sector make a fraction of the money that their counterparts in the public sector make. They are breaking your back to live high on the hog.
Yeah, it's he was a little bit of a nut job, but to quote the great philosopher Ross Perot, it's that giant sucking sound. Because literally that's what Washington, D.C. is.
Yep.
They're sucking the rest of the country dry. They don't care if you're poor or rich. They want to suck every nickel out of you that they can.
You. They see
and then like we do our
dogs
dogs here.
On the stool.
Once in a while, give them a little bit of a few crumbs from the table. That's what they do. I tell you what, this wasn't even planned, but it reminded me of something I recorded today on the Politistics YouTube account, and I'm just going to play a bit of this. I've heard a lot of Rand Paul speeches. I don't always agree with him. I don't probably always agree with too many people on everything, except my lovely wife here. But Rand Paul gave what I thought was his best speech ever. I mean, certainly the best speech I've ever heard from him. And I thought it was just absolutely amazing. And we're going to play it today. And what he said was, Washington is inflicted by by a disease, basically. Here, let's play it. So good. I mean, this is like, so good. Here we go.
Or a syndrome, rather.
Here we go.
In Washington, we have a disease, or a syndrome, rather. I call it the dinosaur syndrome. Big hearts, small brains. Unfortunately, it's a recurring...
Big hearts, small brains. They got big hearts when they spend other people's money.
Yep.
Recurring problem. Year after year, bill after bill, day after day. In Washington, it is argued that you are more compassionate if you give away more of someone else's money. I would argue that true compassion isn't giving your own money away. I would argue that truly rational policy is giving away money that you have.
That is... God, that needed to be said. It's not compassionate to spend other people's money so that you can sound virtuous.
Right?
Don't you care? It's not your money. You're spending other people's money. Let these multi-millionaires and billionaires, which most of the people in Congress are, give their own damn money.
Worked before they got in Congress, and magically, high glory.
Let these,
they became multimillionaires as a public servant.
Right. God, it's just so good.
So it's one thing to give away other people's money. It's another thing to give away money that you don't even possess. Bingo. We as a country have a $20 trillion debt. We borrow $1 million every minute. And yet we are putting forward a bill to allocate $15 billion to those who are suffering under Harvey or from Harvey without paying for it, without finding the money anywhere, with just simply adding it to our tab. adding it to our $20 trillion bill. How did we get to $20 trillion in debt? Big hearts, small brains.
In some cases, extremely small brains. You know, or maybe big brains, but just zero ethics.
Good point.
Nobody has the courage to say, why don't we pay for it? Why don't we be legislators and stand up like men and women and say, let's set priorities. If it's a priority to help those in Texas, and I have great sympathy for those in Texas. My family is there. I have family members with 2 feet of water in their house. So I have great sympathy for those who are in need.
Okay, now he's going to tell you how we could pay for it if anybody in Washington, D.C. had balls and morals.
But there's no reason to be foolish. We shouldn't just borrow the money. Why don't we take the money from something less important? My amendment, America First Amendment, would take the money from money that we were going to send to foreign countries.
Boom.
We send billions and billions of dollars to countries who hate us. We send billions and billions of dollars to countries who burn our flag. I think it's a very simple choice that when we're looking at helping those in need in our country, we quit sending money to other countries. What my amendment would do would be pay for the $15 billion in aid by taking it out of the foreign aid account. Who gets the money in the foreign aid account? What is it spent on? I'll give you a couple examples of what we spend our foreign aid on.
This is a hair raiser. Get ready.
We spent billions of dollars. I think it's over $100 billion building roads in Afghanistan, blowing up roads in Afghanistan, building schools, blowing up schools, and then rebuilding all of them. Sometimes we blow them up, sometimes someone else blows them up, but then we always go back and rebuild them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, what about rebuilding our country? Why don't we look at our country and rebuild our infrastructure, rebuild our roads?
What about that? I mean, why are we spending money in these damn foreign countries?
We hear constantly from the Democrats, infrastructure, it's crumbling. We need infrastructure money. And so then they get people to support their infrastructure like Obama's bombdoogle.
Yeah,
and,
the porculus.
And then nothing happens to the infrastructure. A year later,
no,
we're hearing
it's a
once
boondoggle.
again, infrastructure, we need money for infrastructure. Schools, we need money for schools. Never mind that, but the majority, I will never forget, we were living in Washington when it came out that over 51% of all money allocated, I think at the time Washington was spending over $12,000 technically per student, but over 51% wasn't even making it to the classroom. Why not? Just like the federal government and state governments, bureaucracy.
It's going to the paper pushers.
Yep.
For those who are flooded in Texas, let's help them. Let's help them by not sending the money to Pakistan and other countries that don't even like us.
Right? They want to kill us.
Can I get an amen?
Amen. Amen. You know I got to throw some singing in there, huh?
Oh my God. Help her.
In the foreign aid account, we spent $273 million last year teaching people how to apply for more of our money. So,
are you freaking kidding?
Oh my God!
There should be riots over this.
Seriously?
How to screw your fellow taxpayer?
Hey, black people in America.
God, you're
as
racist.
Another black person,
you're racist.
I'm talking to you as a black woman. Wake up to the fact that you are being victimized
and
played by a party that has a racist history of slave ownership who wants to control. They controlled slaves back in the day. They controlled their bodies as property. Now they control your minds as property. They feed you all this BS, and then they don't put money into making anything really better for you. They're giving it to this aid to these people around the country,
the terrorist countries,
with us, and many of whom want to kill us. All the while, they're trying to make you believe that somebody else is responsible for your woes. You know, they're just victimizing and playing you. Listen to what is happening in your government, people.
So it's not bad enough that they take your money and send it to foreign countries that don't even like us. We teach these people how to apply for more of our money. There's been a televised cricket league we spent over $1 million on in Afghanistan. Televised cricket league. Only problem?
Televised cricket league. Are you freaking kidding me?
Because the
Poke my eyes out.
Afghanis, do they have a right to, oh my God, I shouldn't say that because pretty soon Nancy Pelosi is going to say, poor people have the right to view the NFL and we should pay for all of them to have NFL Sunday ticket.
Only if they live in Afghanistan.
They don't really have any televisions. And why it's our obligation, why is the U.S. taxpayer asked to pay for a cricket league in Afghanistan?
Are you freaking kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me?
We spent $45 million on a natural gas station in Afghanistan.
Listen to this crap. This will like set your hair on fire.
This hair is on fire.
$1 million. It was estimated to cost $500,000, 86 times cost overruns. What does it serve up? Gasoline? Natural gas. Who has a car that runs on natural gas in Afghanistan? Nobody.
You have to laugh at your
These are the great government minds at work.
These are the progressives. We're progressing somewhere. Where are we progressing?
We're
off the cliff.
To poverty.
But we're progressing. Move forward. Forward! Move forward. Let's do natural gas cars in freaking Afghanistan where they ride camels. Are you freaking kidding me?
So we bought them cars. We bought them cars that run on natural gas. Then they had no money to buy the natural gas, so we gave them credit cards to buy the natural gas. That's where your money's going. If you want to help the people in Texas or those people who may be hurt in Florida, why don't we quit sending the money overseas?
Quit it. Say it, brother.
These are the people who chant death to America.
But that's not a problem. That's not a problem.
The Democrat Party loves these people and they hate the Tea Party who pushes for constitutionality of government. Very telling.
Because they hate Americans.
What does that tell you, people?
Because they hate Americans.
And America and the Constitution.
They're
and freedom.
America-hating communists.
Send more money to them. We spent money on home mortgages in Nigeria.
Are you kidding me?
Money might I remind you that we don't freaking have.
Home mortgages in Nigeria.
Good night.
I see that in Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution, don't you? Authorized functions of Congress to spend money on home mortgages in Nigeria. I see it. If you're a freaking leftist. God help us. But you know what? You can't even blame the Democrats. The Republicans are in charge.
Big government party number 2.
Yeah, big government party number 1, big government party number 2. They don't do a damn thing to stop this crap.
We're spending money on home mortgages in Nigeria. We spent money on tourism in Albania. This is what...
Because that is in the best interest of the United States. Tourism in Albania. That is really helping the American taxpayer somehow, some way.
Your taxpayer at work, people.
One of my favorites. We spent money teaching people in Kenya how to use Facebook.
Yes, and then we bought the computer so they could use it.
You mean Kenya? What Michelle Obama said, the home country of Barack? Of Barry? I mean, she said that. You can look on YouTube, it's there.
Maybe that's why we spent money so they could...
I'm not saying he was born there. I'm just saying, quote, Michelle Obama said it was his hometown, so home country.
All I'm asking is, why don't we stand up like men and women, like real legislators, and if we're going to have compassion...
First of all, he can't say men and women. That is gender discrimination.
He and she.
How can he say there's men and women?
He has to say...
I mean, some Democrats aren't sure.
For those in Texas, why don't we have the good wisdom not to just simply add it to our debt? In hysteria, everyone's hysterical. We must give someone else's money. But not only that, we must give money we don't have. We're going to destroy our country.
Yep.
There have been people who argue...
Point, Ron.
Rand,
sorry. Not the first time I've made something.
You're not the only one.
That is their point.
That's what they want to do.
To destroy America.
Cloward Piven. Implode.
Yep.
that our $20 trillion debt is the #1 threat to our national security.
Amen, Rand.
So what I'm asking is, why don't we pay for this? Why don't we simply take some money that we were going to spend somewhere else for something not as valuable in another country, and why don't we spend it here? Because you realize what's going to happen. I will proffer this amendment, and in all likelihood, the swamp...
You know what? Why isn't Trump fighting for this?
Right?
Instead of kissing Nancy Pelosi's ass, why isn't Trump fighting to drain the swamp?
That's what he promised.
The establishment will vote this down because they never want to cut a dime of spending. They're always compassionate. They have big hearts. They're willing to give away everybody else's money, but they're never, ever willing to pay for it. This is both parties, both Republican Party and Democrat Party. Watch the vote and see who is a conservative and who says we should pay for the aid for Harvey and who says, oh no, we should add it to the tab. Where's the $15 billion going to come from? We this year are going to run a $500 billion debt. There is no money.
None.
They're giving away your grandchildren's money to help people. And people will say that's...
You know what? Let me just say, $500 billion debt. If it weren't for Barack Obama, that $500 billion annual deficit would be the biggest in American history. Now, Obama went way over that on an annual basis. He went way over $1 trillion a few years in a row. George Bush, his biggest deficit was like $459 billion, but that was an all-time record. So if you scrap Obama and look at the second biggest deficit spender of all time, George W. Bush, this deficit that they're having this year is enormous. I mean, it may not be Obama, but it's not that much better.
Passion, we're going to help people now, but we're stealing it from our kids' future. We're stealing it from the future and the soundness of our country, and we are threatening the very security of our country with this enormous and elaborate debt. Simply pay for it. Simply say, you know what, this year we can't be so compassionate to people who are wanting to get health care in Cambodia. We have USAID money going to Cambodia to help them get cost-effective or lower-cost insurance. We couldn't even do anything with the health care in our country.
What? What? They're worried about health care in Cambodia.
I have no words.
They can't even repeal tyrannical Obamacare in this country. So they're worried about providing socialized medicine in freaking Cambodia. Get the hell out.
God complex, I guess. I got no words.
We failed to act on it, and we're sending money to Cambodia to help them with their health care. Why don't we act here at home? Why don't we take care of our own problems before we think we can take care of everybody else's problems everywhere around the world?
This is so much the best speech he's ever given. Don't you think?
Yeah.
He's just freaking spot on.
And he's shining light. God, he's shining light.
Yeah.
Make the roaches crawl.
Oh, yeah. You got to wonder where McConnell is. He's probably hiding under his freaking desk.
Turtle, he's gone into his shell.
So we will get a chance to vote today. My amendment will come up shortly, and it will simply say, yes, we are a big, rich country. We can help those in Texas. But we will pay for it by taking the money away from somewhere else in the budget that is less of a priority. We give hundreds of millions, really billions of dollars to Pakistan. How much do they like us?
This is great. Listen to this. Why are we giving money to these a-holes?
No clue.
Sometimes they help us, but sometimes they harbor the enemy. Sometimes they harbor whole networks of people who are plotting to kill us. What do they think of Christianity in Pakistan? Asia Bibi's a Christian. She's been in jail for 5 years on death row for being a Christian.
Death row for being a Christian, but that's okay. That's not...
That's okay. I mean, Democrats love that and want to send them money, but dang, That Confederate flag.
So in other words, they're following the Democrat proposals.
What do they think of helping us with bin Laden? They didn't raise a finger to help us with bin Laden. Bin Laden's lived among them for years and years and years. When we finally got bin Laden, we got bin Laden with information from a doctor named Shakil Afridi. What did Pakistan do to reward the doctor who helped us get bin Laden? Pakistan's got him locked up in life.
And what did Obama do in response? Not a damn thing.
So really, we need to re-question whether this aid works at all to foreign countries, whether it's counterproductive, whether we have it in the first place. But we should also ask an important question. Maybe that aid ought to be better spent at home. Maybe we ought to start rebuilding our country instead of always thinking we have to rebuild everybody else's country.
Yep.
I think this amendment is so easy to decide. And I think the American people are behind me on this amendment. And I think if we were to take this to a huge vote of the entire American public, I think 75 to 80% of the American public would say, you know what? Let's take care of our problems at home. Let's don't send our money abroad. And I think we'd win this battle.
You know, where is our America First president fighting for this?
Right?
Where's our America First president? Put America first. Where's all the damn winning?
I thought I was supposed to be tired of the winning by now.
Is winning going to bed and sucking on Nancy Pelosi's kneecaps? You know, or loving up to Chuck's schemer?
Chucky Schumer?
Good gosh. It makes me absolutely sick to my stomach. So, speaking of someone else that makes me sick to my stomach.
Makes you want to hurl.
RINO establishment stooge, Paul Ryan, who yesterday said that a Democrat deal on the debt limit that would tie it to funding for Hurricane Harvey in Texas was, quote, disgraceful. When Trump made the deal for it, he changed his tune. Are you shocked by this?
No. No, when someone doesn't stand on principles, no, you can't be shocked by anything.
So what he said was, he spoke to the president, and after Trump made love to Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, made passionate love, he said that their debt ceiling increase, are you ready for this? Was perfectly reasonable and rational. Quote, perfectly reasonable and national. Are you freaking kidding me? That's on theblaze.com. Here, let's just hear it.
When you look at that deal that was struck in the room for the 3-month debt ceiling, some are sizing it up and saying that the president really was speaking to Republican leadership. He was saying that it was a signal to you guys. What do you say to that?
Oh, look, I think what he's trying to do is clear the decks so we can get focused on our big things like tax reform. I've spoken with the president a lot about this.
Yeah, we're supposed to believe you on that.
What about the big thing like repealing Obamacare? You freaking moron.
Liar.
Talked to him this morning. He wants to clear the decks so we can basically get our job.
Clear the decks would be to get rid of your sorry ass.
Done and focus on our big issue like tax reform, border security, and the rest. Second point is we're getting hit with 2 hurricanes. We're still dealing with Harvey in Texas, Louisiana. We're just now getting hit with Irma, and he wanted to make this a bipartisan moment. He wanted to make this a bipartisan moment where we weren't fighting.
You know what happens when there's bipartisan moments? The American taxpayer gets screwed, and they get screwed hard. This is it. It never goes to the right. It never goes to less government. It never goes toward constitutionally limited government, ever. Ever. I'm 55 years old. Reagan slowed the growth of government. He slowed the growth of regulations. But there's never been an actual peel back. Government grows. People's incomes don't grow. The taxpayers that pay for the swamp in Washington, D.C. Their incomes don't grow. But the Washington, D.C., the bureaucrats and the politicians, their incomes somehow, and the lobbyists, their incomes always grow.
Right.
And that's why we said in Washington, D.C., is the richest area of the country.
Right. You can sleep easy at night as you try to ponder how you're going to get your next meal on the table, or wishing you could afford to take your family on vacation, or wishing you could help your child pay their college tuition, whatever. You can sleep easy knowing that your tax money helped pay Nancy Pelosi's salary so she could stand in front of a microphone and a camera and rail against income inequality while wearing a $12,000 blouse.
Right.
Or scarf, or whatever it was.
For the little people.
Yes.
Because she's down for the struggle. Speaking of Paul Ryan, establishment rhinos, the squishes, Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell, the heads of the Surrender Caucus. Because really, that's all they're good for, is surrendering. That's all they're good for, surrendering. There's a new poll out. I wrote about this today on thepolitistic.com. Thepolitistic.com. A new poll of 1,000 likely voters by McLaughlin and Associates. This was a poll commissioned by the Center for Security Policy and the Eagle Forum. Shows that a near supermajority of voters, 63%, want these stooges, McConnell and Ryan, replaced. But even more damaging, just 15% of those polled want them left in office, in leadership. 15%. But that's not the worst part. More Democrats want them to stay in power than Republicans.
Wow.
What does that tell you?
That tells me that...
I like your hair. What'd you do to your hair?
I just put it up in a kind of ponytail.
Looks kind of hot. Why don't you do that more often?
Okay, honey, let's get back to the show.
We might have to end this a little early.
Oh my Lord, stop. The kids are listening, you
You think the kids happen? Okay, so isn't that crazy? The Democrats, more Democrats want McConnell and Ryan to stay in power than Republicans.
And that's all the proof you need. That's all the proof you need, that they're giving the left what they want.
Unbelievable. So 68% of Republicans want new GOP leadership, but only 63% of Democrats want them replaced. Why would that be? I mean, normally things are so partisan. You're like, I mean, if you ask Republicans, do you want to see Pelosi and Schumer replaced? It'd probably have to be 90%.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, for the good of the country.
Right?
Because they're horrible. I mean, not because they're like great for the Democrat Party.
Right?
They're horrible. But I mean, for the good of the nation, they stink. You know, they're moving the country past the Constitution.
Right?
Way past.
Way.
To the left. Over the freaking cliff. Okay, speaking of Paul Ryan. Oh my gosh. Here is this absolute idiot saying that the Republican Congress that continues to fund freaking Obamacare, that won't repeal Obamacare, that continues to fund Planned Butcherhood, the baby body parts chop shop, continues to fund continues to fund Obama's Iran deal. What promises have they kept? If there are some, I don't know too many of them. But he said that it's like one of the most productive Congresses of all time.
We've actually passed more bills in the House for the president and his agenda in this first 6 months of his administration than in the first 6 months of Obama, Clinton, and both Bushes.
What?
So pass more bills, i.e., taking away more of your freedom.
Or renaming post offices.
Right.
More bills, more laws. We don't need more laws.
No.
We need to undo laws.
Unravel your freaking chaotic.
We don't need more laws. We don't need more restrictions. I remember when I ran for Congress, people go, oh, what laws are you on? I don't want to make new laws. I want to undo laws that we have that restrict freedom. Unreal. I mean, for this guy to get out there and gloat about how there's somehow...
We're passing more laws. You should be thankful.
Gosh, shut the hell up. Not you, him. Okay, last topic for the evening here as we approach our Dave Rubin. He's got he's a former progressive. He has shifted from the progressive lefties because they're absolutely anti-American nut jobs. But he was on Tucker Carlson tonight on Fox News, Dave Rubin was, and he talked about how Google, i.e. YouTube is a subsidiary of Google, is guilty of censorship through demonetization.
Yep.
And I can absolutely testify that this is true. All of a sudden, in the last month, you see on Politistics' YouTube page, you can't see this, but we can on the back end.
Take screenshots.
Every single video we put up, almost, I'm talking 9 out of 10, they say is not eligible for monetization, which
isn't deemed to be friendly for most advertisers.
In other words, you can't do it because you're not going to do it unless you can make money on it because we all got to eat. And so what they're doing is...
And let me remind people, Google, run by Hillary campaigner Eric Schmidt.
Right. And Obama sycophant, Eric Schmidt. So let's just listen to this and then we'll say good night.
A lot of people now make a living off of YouTube. It's the world's most popular video site by far. It's a subsidiary of Google. Increasingly, though, Google seems to be letting politics dictate who is allowed to make money from their platform. Dave Rubin hosts a very popular show called The Rubin Report. It's online. YouTube hosts it. Recently, though, a whole bunch of Rubin's videos were demonetized. That's the word YouTube uses when they tell you you can't make money from them anymore. Why did that happen? Dave Rubin joins us tonight. Dave, it's good to see you. So explain what exactly happened. This has happened to other people. It sounds ominous. What does it mean and why they decide to do this?
Yeah, well, I think most importantly, the reason I agreed to do this with you tonight, Tucker, is that I am on that platform, the YouTube platform, and I want that platform to work. I want it to be all the things for all of the creators who put their content out there across the board, politically, or whether you're doing beauty videos or sports videos or politics videos or anything else. I want it to be treated fairly for everybody and be transparent in what it is. So, the word demon is in demonetized, and I can tell you as someone that's dealing with some of this stuff, that it appears at least that there's some pretty shady stuff going on.
Wait, demon? Isn't Google's motto do no evil or something along those lines?
Yeah, do no evil unless you're screwing over a conservative.
Right.
Look, I don't want to fight Google and YouTube. There's a biblical story of David versus Goliath. I don't want to be...
Screw that. David won.
Dave versus Google, because it probably won't work out as well for me. But my show, we do a talk show based on big ideas, sort of in an old school Larry King-esque style. And I talk to people all over the political map. Many of them are conservative friends of yours. And then I have progressives and lefties. And I talk about religion and science and all of this stuff. And our videos, our back catalog, just lately, I was off the grid, which is where this beard came from for a month. But just lately, our videos, almost our entire back catalog has been demonetized. And I'm talking about videos where we're talking about God and morality, or we're talking about basic stuff about the election, or even today, the video that I posted, one video today, it was with a YouTuber by the name of Phil DeFranco, who's one of the original YouTubers. The guy's got about 6 million subscribers, a really, really interesting guy that I'm sure many of your audience knows. They demonetized that. This is with one of their top creators who's been on there forever. So look, I don't know exactly what's going on behind the scenes.
Well, we got a statement.
I know that a creators are upset.
Well, I think that's right. And we got a statement from YouTube, and it contradicts what you just said. They said over 90% of the videos on the Rubin Report are fully monetized. The remaining 10% are not because they contain discussions of adult topics, pornography, ISIS. These are topics which many advertisers find objectionable. What's your response?
Okay, I said I don't want to do a David versus Goliath thing here, but I mean, that's just simply not true. I'm telling you right now, as we went to air, I have an iPhone here, it's a very fancy thing, the video that I posted this morning with Phil DeFranco, I can tell you about videos that I did with many people who are mainstream people who appear even on Fox, like Ben Shapiro and Larry Elder, Ayaan Hirsi Ali, who I think is the greatest human rights hero that we have on earth today.
I
could talk about Bishop Robert Barron from the Archdiocese in LA, where we talked about religion. People I agree with, people I disagree with. By the way, I don't think I'm necessarily
and those videos have been demonetized?
This is an across-the-board problem. Yes, absolutely.
The videos
and we have
just
screenshots,
mentioned?
so I don't know. Yeah, and I'm not, Tucker, I'm not BSing you here. I mean, I even have...
He's not BSing you here. Here's the Politistics YouTube account, which we run here. And here's a few. I mean, these are
demonetized.
These are all in a row. So there's a video of Ted Cruz, 2016 flashback. Ted Cruz predicts Trump will cut deals with Pelosi and Schumer.
Demonetized.
It says, not suitable for all advertisers. So therefore it's demonetized.
Can't make money
3,686 views.
And they're not showing, when they say not suitable for all advertisers, that also means that they are not.
They're hiding it.
They're hiding it from people. People have to actually go and search to find it. They're not showing it to people, probably even to our tens of our thousands of followers.
So when they say, they're really sleazy, just sleazy and crap, not suitable for all advertisers. Well, yeah, all is a pretty big word, right?
We should go to Hillary Clinton's page and see if any of hers monetized.
Here's another one. Liberal law. These are all in a row. Okay, we're not jumping around.
Nope.
Liberal law professor pours buckets of cold water on DACA legality. That's Jonathan Turley.
Jonathan Turley.
Liberal, who said that Obama had no right to implement DACA. And of course, YouTube comes back with an error message. Not suitable for all advertisers. Here's Chuck Schumer gloats over debt ceiling increase. Deal struck with Trump. Not suitable for all advertisers. Here's Hillary Clinton blames Bernie Sanders for Trump's crooked Hillary attacks. Not suitable for all advertisers. Here's Laura Ingraham. Americans are dreamers too. Not suitable for all advertisers.
Meaning demonetized. Can't make money from it.
Right. So what they're doing is they're silencing free speech. They're cutting conservative thought off.
Yep.
By just saying...
They don't want people to hear anything than the progressive propaganda commie claptrap.
And listen, these are just like...
mainstream videos.
From CNN,
yes.
From MSNBC, from Fox News, that advertisers are obviously promoting those shows. Here's Jeff Sessions announced the end of Obama's...
Jeff Sessions, the Attorney General of the United States.
Yeah, he can't talk. Not suitable for all advertisers. And so what happens is you can request a review, and they will only review it for monetization, where they have a human actually look at it, if it has 1,000 views or more. And so sometimes they'll come back and say, okay, it's all right. But their algorithm is slamming anything that's conservative.
Yep. You can't.
Anything that they politically disagree with.
They must have some kind of. They must have something there that basically flags something, because you can't tell me that a human looks at every single video.
No, they only look at it after it's been banned.
A flag for certain people, certain discussions, certain topics, to say not suitable. Ted Cruz, Jeff Sessions.
Right. And so it's, it's corporate tyranny, really.
It's fascism from the Democrat friends who run social media.
Yeah, they need competition. They need competition. Somebody needs to come into the free market and kick their ass. That's what needs to happen. Okay, we ran out of time. We got so much to go over, but we're tired, right?
We're tired, hon.
It's late. It's late here on Thursday, on, what's the day? September 7th of the Burke Brigade. The Burke Brigade.
Brought to you by the Liberty Daily.
Your alternative, conservative alternative to the Drudge Report. Go to
thelibertydaily.com. That's thelibertydaily.com.
Thank you so much for tuning in. God bless you.
And God bless America.
And God bless Texas.
Amen.